All right. Welcome, everyone, to TrueFire Live. This is going to be a great show today. We've got some awesome guests lined up. Later on, we're going to have Cathy Fink and Marcy Marxer stopping in. But we're going to kick the show off with one of our favorite folks here at TrueFire. We get to work with a lot of artists, a lot of amazing artists. And what you're watching right there is definitely one of our favorite artists. We have in the house, well, actually in her house, we have Muriel Anderson coming from Nashville, Tennessee. How are you doing, Muriel?
Good. Nice to be here. Boy, I've known you guys for a long time.
That is true. It's been a long, and you still keep coming back. So that's,
That's right. Yeah, you
that's
guys
a
are
good
great.
sign. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're totally excited to have you here. We're going to be playing some music, talking about some cool stuff, your channel, your private lessons, a cookbook. We're doing all kinds of fun stuff here. So for everyone that is watching out there and dialing in, please let us know where you're watching from in the chat there. Type in where you're at, where you're watching from. We'll be talking about some different things today. As a matter of fact, we have a tip jar set up where you can go to the page, or we'll post a link right here, and you can leave a tip for artists. Our artists come in here and do these shows. It's an amazing amount of prep they do and put in the time to be here and share their talents. So if you feel like you're digging it, for sure, leave a tip in the tip jar. 100% of that money goes directly to the artist. So we appreciate that, and so do they as well. We've got a couple of other cool things going on during the show today. As a matter of fact, we have a trivia. We've got a couple trivia questions. So Tommy, tell us what the first trivia question is.
All right, I will do. Hey, looks like the trivia question today for Muriel, folks, is which of Muriel's recordings has traveled the farthest in miles? And they have traveled quite a bit. So the question again, which of Muriel's recordings has traveled the farthest? I would hope so. We will find out very, very cool answer to that question later. But for all of you guys, make sure that you hit the link in the description there. Put the answer in the actual trivia link. Don't put it in the chat. You just give away the answer for more people. Your chances go down for winning. We're going to give away a $100 gift card to TrueFire, guys. Ooh. So look out for that a little bit later. We will answer those questions. And back to you, Jeff Sheets.
All right. Well, that is Tommy jamming from our wonderful headquarters running the board there. I am Jeff Sheets, Director of Education at TrueFire. And more importantly than Tommy and I, who cares about us? But more importantly, let's get back to Muriel. I think we should start off, Muriel, with some music. We got some music to play, so let's start off with a song. What do you think?
Okay. Well, there was. I'll tell you what. I'll start off with "View from Space." So I'll do it harp guitar then.
That's a fitting segue, Muriel.
Yes.
I said that's a fitting segue.
How about that? Yeah, I figured that since we talked about the trivia question, this is a little hint about the trivia question. Has to do with it. All right.
Yeah, very nice. That is amazing. That's awesome. So while you have that instrument in your hands there, tell us about that. Tell us
Yes.
what the heck you're playing there.
Well, I started writing tunes that were just calling for some extra resonating bass strings, like that one. That just, it doesn't sound like space unless you have that sound, right? So trying to capture the sound and feel from space, and a lot of other tunes, I needed some extra strings. And this was built for me by Mike Doolin out in Portland, Oregon. And I really like it. It's a unique instrument because it has nylon strings here in the regular part and the sub basses, which just move down the scale. And also, it has a set of super trebles. So you can't see these very well. But those are steel strings. And I recorded an album called Harp Guitars Under the Stars with John Doan. And he had super trebles on his. So then I was hooked. So that, and the thing is that what the harp guitar does is it just extends the possibility of what you can do on a regular guitar. So you see, I don't use all the strings all the time. So there's just certain tunes that just need that little extra sparkle of the supers, or some that need that extra oomph of the bass. And with the song I just played, I had enough of the sparkle already in it because I've figured out a harmonic technique, which I teach actually on my TrueFire channel, how to make it sound like they're all harmonics. It's actually just one out of every 3 notes that's a harmonic going up, and one out of every 2 notes that's a harmonic coming back down. So there's a special way to do it. So that's kind of what I specialize in, kind of coming up with my own techniques in order to get the feel and the sound that I'm after.
That's awesome. It's amazing. I would have to arrive at the gig an hour early just to tune that thing, though. So
yes, that's a perpetual
definitely some extra work there in the tuning. So
yeah.
we have a lot of cool things to talk about today. And for everyone watching, thanks for dropping in where you're from. Make sure you check in on the live page for our road trip promo if you haven't done that. And as I said, the tip jar is there. So if you're digging this, drop a tip in there. I tell you, Muriel, you do a lot of other things, and maybe a lot of people are familiar with this, and maybe they're not, but you also are an amazing chef. You do a lot of cooking, right? You enjoy that.
Well,
so
we have
kind of cool thing is you figured out a way to combine those two, right? You figured out a way to kind of do both of your loves there. So tell us a little bit about the Acoustic Chef, how that came about, and show us a little bit about that.
Well, I have to have a disclaimer, is that I'm not an amazing chef, but I love great food. And so everything is pretty easy to make. So my formula, I had to come up with recipes that would go with the music, or music to go with the recipes. So that's number one. It has to be a cool tune or inspiration to write a cool tune. And also they had to be recipes you couldn't find on the internet, couldn't find anywhere else. So we learned them as we were traveling around over the years from individuals. And then there's also kind of a formula. This is the book we were talking about, Acoustic Chef, and the CD becomes a sound hole on the front there. So I'll tuck it inside while I show it to you. And the recipes, I figure my formula is taste plus presentation plus nutrition divided by the time it takes to prepare it. And nice. So that's my formula. So here's one. This was taught to me by the Tuvan throat singers when they came through town, Tuvan lamb dumplings. They did ask for a live sheep when I asked them to make it from scratch, but that's not necessary. And here, I'll show you just the one. The eggplant parmesan. I'll play you the tune, or maybe I'll play the tune that goes to the Finnish recipes here, because my heritage is Finnish, and so there's several recipes in that. I've got to show you some of Brian's artwork there. But the composition was really fun. And this really pushed me to compose some different things. So the one to go with the Karilan pirikas, the Finnish recipe. Say that 3 times fast. I remember my grandfather playing an old push-button harmonica, the chromatic harmonicas, and he had that real Finnish lilt to his playing. So I tried to capture that feel, and then get a melody on top of it that would sound like it was an old folk song from Scandinavia. Maybe I could kind of talk through a little bit of how I caught that. So I tried to capture this little feel. So you have to get the little staccato thing in there, and then a little flowing thing, a little so I'm thinking about my grandfather on the harmonica when I'm doing, then a melody on top. I call this the immigrant. So trying to capture the challenges of just coming to this country. And there, I do a little contrary motion. The melody goes down and the bass goes up. There. Then I'm coming down. And then pull it. Now I'm going to do it the opposite way. So that middle voice now goes up and the bass goes down. Pull it like taffy a little bit. Now this time I do it parallel motion, so I did that same lick 3 different ways. And then here's that real plaintive, the difficulties of coming to this country and everything being so new. That was 4 generations ago, a long time ago. That's why it has to sound old-fashioned. Okay, now here's the memories of being back in Finland. So it's a Finnish dance, sort of. And now here's where he's going to swing her in the dance. Melodramatic there. And here we're coming back now. Oh yeah, I have to get emotional right there. Do a little chromatic motion on the top. There, that should bring you right there. So that's that emotional part that phrase differently. And here we go again. Stretch that out just a little bit. Ethnic scale thrown in there for good measure. That little chromatic scale. Now I'll just play it for a little while. Here's the Finnish dance. there's that chromatic line, but this time it's in the middle voice. Oh, that last chord is really important there. So what I'm doing is I'm listening to the sound as it fades away. That's a little different on every guitar. So I listen to that fade, and just when it comes to that point, then I just give it a little whisper at the end, just kind of a sigh at the end by letting the fingers just sort of fall down.
Beautiful.
Absolutely awesome. Made me hungry for Finnish food right there.
Right.
So it worked, right?
Yes, yeah. So
Yeah.
kind of getting into that place and getting into the minds of my great grandparents, you know, and finding that place was a real experience.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. That's definitely a beautiful piece. And once again, if someone wants to get the Acoustic Chef cookbook, where can they find that?
Well, we have links for everything at murielanderson.com/now, N-O-W. You can also go directly to it, murielanderson.com/cookbook.
Awesome.
That'll bring you
very
right
cool. There. Well, I think everyone should get that and enjoy the music and the food. So you also, speaking of other things that they can get from you, let's talk about the Nightlight Daylight CD, right?
Oh, yes.
The double CD.
Right.
So tell us about that. And you've got a version of it there, right? That's really cool because it has a little extra bonus.
Right. So my partner Brian Allen did the artwork. This is the one that it got listed as one of the top 10 CDs of the decade by Guitar Player magazine. So really, really proud of that, and glad that people are feeling the love that went into it, because I figured that once in my life I was going to do one project with no maximum budget and no time limit. And so whatever it needed, it got. And so we have Stanley Jordan, Earl Klug. When I wanted a little Stanley and Earl sound, I got Tommy Emmanuel on there, and Nashville strings on some cuts, and Phil Keggy, all over there. So that's one album of music to wake up to. There's 30 songs altogether, and one is music to go to sleep to or to relax to. And then when you push the moon, it lights up, and
look at that.
The stars and fireflies twinkle. So
awesome package.
that took a couple of years to get that all together, to get all the programming of the lights and get a place to build it. So it was a really big project.
Yeah, looks like but very fulfilling to be able to do that. What you've always, how you want to do it, right?
Yeah, it really was. It's it's amazing to be able to do that. The thing that I noticed when I was in the process of recording it, it took 2 years to record it also, and I noticed that every person who was in there, Mark Kibble from Take Six and Danny and Beth Gottlieb and drums, every single person not only was a great musician, but a great person. And we had so much fun in the studio that every moment of this project was a joy from start to finish. And so that's the one thing the one takeaway for me.
Awesome.
And plus I ended up falling in love with the artist, and we're now together.
So there you go. That's like it was meant to be all the way around, right?
Okay, I have to admit, all right, that was the biggest perk for me. And so now Brian Allen and I tour together, and he does the visuals behind me as I play. So
awesome.
That tune, The Immigrant, that I just played, if you were to come to a concert, or if you come to the live stream that I'm doing on, let's see, the 24th, I believe, May 24th, we'll have a screen behind with the images of my great-grandparents at that time and the new immigrants coming into Ellis Island, and very emotional visuals
awesome.
To it.
Very cool. Well, we've got a lot of people, so many great comments in the chat right now about loving what you're doing and really digging it. Allie says to tell you that Leo is watching. Leo is watching online.
Great.
So we've got a lot of people chiming in. We're going to sort of announce where they're watching from, because they've been dropping that in the chat. You've also started, your TrueFire channel, and your TrueFire private lessons, and your channel is just amazing. I mean, it's shot so well. There's so much content in there. I think we're going to pull that up on the screen. Yeah, we've got your channel here. And I mean, for anyone who wants to really dig in and learn from you, what a great way to do it, right? Because it's very a personal touch. The channel, less than $10 a month, they get 215 videos and tab and charts, and you're in there, you know, talking and posting new stuff all the time. They can step it up to level 2 for basically $20 a month. They get more videos, and they get all of these exclusive videos from the 25 plus years of All-Star Guitar Night. Of course, you organized the All-Star Guitar Nights that we used to be a big part of, both out at the NAMM show in Anaheim or in Nashville or wherever it was. So those threads are in there as well. And then if folks really want to dig in and learn what you do and get help with their own playing, they have the option to take private lessons with you in addition to all that. So we're excited to have you, you know, involved there. But I mean, your channel has just got so much amazing content. I can't imagine that anyone who is, you know, remotely interested in what you're doing wouldn't benefit from getting in there. I know you've had a lot of fun putting the channel together. Yeah,
we've had a lot of great comments, and students can just say, hey, I heard you play The Immigrant. Can you teach that to me? And then I said, okay. And then I put up, you know, little videos giving them bit by bit over time. And so that's worked great. So people have requested all different things, and it pushes me in different directions too.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that interaction is something that's very cool. Of course, you know, you have a ton of TrueFire courses. You've done, I don't know how many TrueFire courses have you done by now? 9, 10,
something like that.
Courses.
Yeah, right-hand techniques.
Yep.
All the harmonics.
So you've done a lot of TrueFire courses, and so you know, those are, you know, something that obviously you know, I know have done really well. They've been very successful at TrueFire, and the channel and private lessons just allows folks to get even a little bit more in-depth personal interaction with you, which is really cool. So however you want to learn, definitely pick up some of those courses because they're really good stuff if you're interested in both things. You obviously play classical guitar. You know, you do what is considered sort of traditional classical playing, but you know, you also do a ton of bluegrass, and of course your Chet Atkins stuff is amazing. So you know, I think we would love to hear some you know, hear you play something again.
Oh,
so
okay.
let's do some playing.
Well, let's see, you'd mentioned bluegrass, so I'll change my tuning entirely.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
If you could do that.
Not the harp guitar.
At least there's only 6 strings on that
only
to tune.
6 strings on this one. I usually do this one on the harp guitar, but I have my 6 string with me, and I haven't played it on this guitar. This guitar was it's a Tierra Negra model that Leo and Rauji gave me for my birthday one year.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, we love those guys as well, so that's very cool.
Okay, so with this one, I'm starting off with a little clawhammer banjo technique, and if you're interested, I can show you how to do that, of course. So I'm just kind of clawhammering here, and then with the nylon strings, that gives you kind of a real old-fashioned sound. Here's a little 5-string. Here comes a mandolin player. Fiddle. Here's the whole band now.
That's awesome. So yeah, that just goes to show you can play all kinds of things. You can do whatever you really want to do. If you hear it in your head, you can just play it, right?
That's right. Well, yeah, you find a way to do it,
Yeah,
and
absolutely, absolutely. You find your way to do it there. So wonderful. So we've with people tuning in from all over watching, and I think Tommy's going to give us a little rundown on where they're coming from, and maybe
okay.
give us the trivia question again there, Tommy.
Yeah, let's take a look. So we have folks tuning in today from Homestead. Let me move my computer over so I'm not looking to the side the whole time. We got people in Homestead, Rowlett, Texas, Ottawa, Fort Worth, Chicago, Pasadena, Sacramento, France, San Mateo, Poland, Glasgow, Scotland, UAE, Tampa, Mexico City, England, India, St. Pete, Estonia, Milan. I assume that's St. Pete, Florida, but it could be St. Pete, Russia, Estonia, Milan, Ukraine, British Columbia, Rome, Russia, Cincinnati, New Hampshire. Folks all over the globe loving it. Muriel, lots of great comments already. People are really enjoying this. And once again, guys, that trivia question for you. Which of Muriel's recordings is the name of the album has traveled the farthest? And it's traveled quite a ways, right, Muriel? I mean, you want to give another hint?
Yeah, let's see. I played View from Space as a hint. Yeah, okay.
Right.
It traveled 2.5 million miles.
Wow, that's a lot of miles. So,
That is
guys,
a lot of miles.
answer the question at the link. Don't put it in the chat. You just give other people more chances to win. You get a chance to win a $100 TrueFire gift card if you answer it correctly. Back to you, Jeff Sheets.
Awesome. Thank you, Tommy. So Muriel, we got some people asking questions and, talking about arranging, because not only do you play technically amazing stuff, right? But you write really, interesting and well thought out songs and melodies. And so you have a really interesting, unique view, I think, on arranging and sort of how you go about that and where that comes from. So tell us a little bit about that. Let's talk a little bit about arranging and what that means for you.
Well, I think that that's important at a number of different levels. I started with folk guitar, and I remember that just pure joy of learning a tune, getting the fingers to do something, and then getting a little flexibility with it and coming up with some of my own ways to do things right in the early stages when I was still a kid. And so I think that getting some fluency with not only the instrument but with music is important, and so that's why I put together building guitar arrangements from the ground up, and I have a whole beginning section that tries to open up some of those pathways and get you thinking about, okay, well, if I can do this, then why not this, right? And then at a little bit more complicated levels, now if I'm arranging a tune, I have to have something that really grabs me, because I want to recapture that joy that I had when you're just learning, And so it has to have something unique that I'm trying to find. And so that way it's kind of like I'm searching for gold. I'm searching for hidden treasure here. And I heard this tune by Karen Carpenter. She was singing it. It's a Burt Bacharach tune. And the piano player was going chunk, 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 while Karen Carpenter was singing freely over that. I said, wow, if I could capture the sound of that piano player, I could almost see his fingers going like this. And so I worked on it to see if I could get the fingers to brush across this and this and then stop and then play something over it. So that was the whole idea behind the Close to You arrangement. And it starts with this little piano lick. And I hold some notes and I let some notes go. There's that piano player there in the middle. Hear him? That's the bass player right there. Did that. And I still want to have some freedom with the melody. Now here's, this part is just sort of a dippy section where it's kind of like a children's rhyme. So I did it in harmonics to kind of undipify it, if that's a word. Here's the little piano part. And I just play that nice and quiet there. Now here, she moves up a half step, but I finally realized I can go to any key I darn well please, you know. I'm playing it instrumentally. It throws off singers when they're trying to sing along with me. But I like this key. It's got some nice open strings. And this nice pretty register here. Now I have to figure out how to get back to the original key. So I take this lick and move the bass around. And then I'm magically back to the original key. I'm very proud of that transition. Here's a little drum bit. Little piano part, and then now here come the chick singers now. So I kind of spread those chords out a little bit, make it sound like they're bigger. Just kind of spread like that. You can go ahead and sing along with this. And now here I do a descending bass, and then I just wrote this part. There, I was just pretending that I was Burt Bacharach and just wrote that little tag because I wanted to end on this chord.
There you go. It's beautiful.
Very nice.
Bert would be proud of that chord, I think.
Oh, I hope so. I hope he would like that chord. You know, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, love it. Love it. Great. That's a great arrangement of that. And that's, I think, something that, you know, is really good for, you know, for students to see how you sort of think through that and think it's not just how do I come up with that? Well, you think how maybe you would hear it, you know, think about how you would hear someone else play it, how you would hear a piano do it or something else, how the arrangement is. And then you put that on your instrument because that's what you're playing, right?
Right, right.
I think that's a great, you know, tip for students in general is remember, you know, you're playing guitar, but that doesn't mean all you have to listen to is, you know, is guitar players. All you have to try to think about, you can think about music because as a guitar player, you're a musician. So it's wider than that. It's broader than that. I think you bring a lot of that to your playing, you know, you bring a lot of those arranging things and composing that we'll talk about in a little bit. But, you know, and how you write songs and come up with those ideas. I think we're looking to see if we have any questions. I mean, so many people, the chat is flying by.
Oh.
We have so many folks tuned in from around the world that it's hard to keep up with all the chat because they're definitely, yeah. So someone says, how can you play like that and have a discussion in the meantime?
Well, I have to admit it is a little dangerous because I could, you know, my fingers could suddenly get off automatic pilot and, you know, decide to go someplace else. So I'm kind of living on the edge today.
Oh, well, we appreciate you taking the risk.
Thank you.
So let's talk about, and I want to get into this because it was the other thing I mentioned that, you know, and you teach a lot of this stuff in your channel. When we're talking about your channel, we're talking about arranging and composing and all of those things. And those are the kind of tips and sort of insights that you share in your channel, right? I mean, you have numerous things where you talk about that and students can ask questions, they can post things, students can, you know, communicate with each other in there. So if they're
Yeah.
sort of fans of what you're doing, I think they would really dig that. So for sure, everyone go check out Muriel's channel. A lot of cool stuff in there. When we're talking about composing, all right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you go about, when you're going to compose a song, when you're going to put something together, not arranging something else, but you're coming up with your own thing? Where do you start with something like that?
Well, the songs write themselves in a lot of different ways, and so you have to first, get the little bit of inspiration, and then listen to where the melody wants to go, and so that's really important. And let's see, see if I'm in the right tuning for this one. That's I'll do it on the regular guitar. Some tunes, I just wake up in the morning and there it is, right? The song just writes itself, right? It was in the background of my dream or whatever. And then I just take that and massage the edges of it. And other songs, I just get a little bit at a time, and they build themselves. And those, sometimes I work on them for months. Every day I do a little bit, and then sometimes let it go for a while. So sometimes those take years before they come together. And I won't. I'll play a little bit of either of those. Okay. So here's one that came all at once, and in fact, it came so easily underneath my fingers. I had to ask a bunch of people first. Have you heard this tune? Because I thought for sure I must have lifted it from something. Just heard it, and it was in some back corner of my memory. But so far, nobody said they've heard it. So I guess I'll admit that I wrote it then. So this is called "It Never Gets Easier." That repeats, and then it goes to. So it's not often to get a gift like that, to have a melody that comes like that. And then, but part of that is when the melody starts to come, to let it develop the way it wants to develop and not get in the way of it by thinking about theory or something. You have to have the theory already in you and not to be thinking about it as you're doing the composition process. But you can use theory to get yourself out of a rut. So if you don't know where to go, then you say, okay, well, I know that this chord is here, the same chord is up here. Let's see what happens when I do the same kind of shape up in this position, and then I get a different sound. So those kind of things can be really helpful. And there's one that I was inspired by Bach, the Bach cello suite. Well, actually, I was instructed to give my students an etude, and I didn't like etudes. I liked real pieces, not learning pieces. So I wrote an etude. So I thought, well, I'll write it in 5 instead of 4. And so Bach never wrote in 5, so I'm home free, right? There's no way I can plagiarize. And so I took that. Okay, there's my top 5 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the prettiest part of that. And I just changed it. Okay, so that's as much as I took from Bach. And then I figured, well, what would Bach do if he were doing this in 5? He would, I won't play the whole thing, it's quite long, but I'll kind of get into it a little bit. So he might move the bass around. Keep this part. And then move the top part.
Very nice.
Thank you. There wasn't really a stopping point there. It was kind of all in one string.
That's okay. We'll take it all. That was beautiful. Nice job.
I was having
That sounded
too much
awesome.
fun playing that. But you could hear how it developed in different ways. First, one part moved, then the other part moved. And so that one, I worked on it, a little bit every day until I finally said, aha, it's done. And then I celebrated. And then the next day I played it. I said, no, that's not quite right. And then I finished. It's done. And I celebrated. So I celebrated it being done every day for 2.5 weeks.
That's awesome. Well, it feels done now. Feels like you finally got it. So
yeah, finally. I'm not changing
good work.
anything. Thanks.
So let's talk for just a minute. I know we got to wrap up. We could stay here and listen to you play all afternoon, I think. But let's look at your channel one more time. Tell me, let's go to that channel. The channels and private lessons. Once again, I can't stress enough for all the folks that are watching. If you're digging this and like what you're hearing, and I can't imagine you wouldn't be, check out Muriel's channel at TrueFire. She posts tons of videos in there. There's over 200 videos in there. If you are level 2, you get to see all of this amazing exclusive footage from the All-Star Guitar Nights, which is literally a who's who of amazing guitar virtuosos from the past. It's amazing, all the footage that's there.
There were some cool moments.
So you can check that out. And for sure, if you want to dive deeper, private lessons is another great way to explore some stuff with Muriel. So thanks to everyone for watching, for tuning in. If you like what Muriel's playing, please stop by the tip jar. Just go to the tips link. You'll be able to drop a tip in there for Muriel. Once again, 100% of that goes directly to her. So we appreciate that. She appreciates that. And Muriel, we certainly thank you for your time today. So let's do another song as we're sort of wrapping things up. I think the less of me talking and the more of you playing would probably make everybody happy. So let's do another song.
Yeah, I have to thank TrueFire also for what you've done. I mean, not only for the artists, because as you know, all concerts have been canceled, for the foreseeable future, and for maybe a year. And so this is really how we're making an income. So I appreciate what TrueFire does to make this available, to make it possible for us to teach from home through the channel and doing these. Mine is also linked to, if you go to quarantutor.com, that links right to my channel.
Awesome.
And also what you're doing for the people who are stuck at home and are looking for something to nourish their souls. And I think that what TrueFire is really offers is really important, what you're doing here. So I do appreciate
Muriel,
you as well.
Real quick, we got a couple of quick questions.
Yes.
Folks are asking about your guitars. So
yes.
Maybe you can just give a quick shout out to the makers of the guitars. People are loving the tone. And also, they're asking about the wood carving behind you. I don't know how they see that, but there's apparently some kind of amazing wood carving back there. Everybody wants to know. Can you just answer this couple quick questions?
Well, let's start with the guitars. And so this is this one here is my travel harp guitar. I bring this with me when I go to Europe because it not besides being a fantastic sounding instrument, it also folds up, the whole thing comes apart and fits into a backpack. And this is built by Lucas Brunner, and it has both the super trebles and the sub basses on it. And Lucas Brunner also built this, and I just heard from him. He is going to start building these again. He's going to be doing the second batch. So this is a set of super trebles that attaches to any instrument. So you can put it on your guitar. So if you don't want to buy a whole harp guitar, but you want to play with having a harp guitar, then you get an instant harp guitar with that. So he's calling them Muriel trebles.
Nice.
And then, let's see. Then I already talked about the instrument, the nylon string harp guitar. This is steel string, so it has quite a different sound. The nylon string was built by Mike Doolin. And my flamenco guitar, this one is a Tierra Negra model. Mm-hmm. And in fact, I've probably got a guitar or two for sale to make this time, so let me know. They're so wonderful instrument, and I really thank the group Tierra Negra for designing that and making that possible. So I'll play something on this Brunner guitar. This is one that actually got a lot of views, and I think it's a wonderful time to play this tune again. This is called Why Worry?
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
I'll answer the question about the carving behind me. It's actually not a carving. This is an old house from 1950s, I believe, and the original houses in this area all had a mural on one wall. And so this is the original mural behind me that does look a little like a wood carving in this light. And off to the side, I don't know if you can see it very well, is my grandfather's old Victrola with a wooden horn. And that's I've been in the family since I can remember. So
Awesome. Well, very, very cool. Well, thank you for answering that. That would have left everybody hanging if we wouldn't have answered that one question. That would have been it.
yeah,
So, well, thank you once again for doing this. We appreciate you taking your time
you're
and
welcome.
all the things you do with TrueFire. So we appreciate it. We will hopefully do it again.
Thanks,
I know
Muriel.
everyone really dug your playing and having you here. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Jeff.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Thank you for everyone tuning in, but don't go away because there's even more playing and music coming your way this afternoon. You're watching TrueFire Live here. So this afternoon we have a couple of other guests that are going to be joining us. For sure, stick around for this. We're going to play a little video just to get things rolling, get them warmed up. So check this out, and we will be right back at you here. Music coming your way. You've been watching a video there, listening to. They always say it's our favorite folks, but this is two more of our favorite people here at TrueFire. Cathy Fink and Marcy Marxer. We've been working with these guys for many years on many different things, and it's so good to have you guys here. Welcome to TrueFire Live. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great.
We're
Thank
fabulous. It's a gorgeous day up here on a mountain in North Carolina. We got back from a hike in time to turn on the computer and be part of this, and to get to hear Muriel Anderson play incredible music.
That was gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a real honor, and what a great show to have her and you guys both on the same show. So I'm really lucky to be here hosting. So I think a lot of the folks that have tuned in, are basically excited for the whole thing because there's so much good music. We got so much to talk about with you guys. There's tons of things we can get into. But as always, I love to be able to jump into music. I like to start things off with a bang. So let's play a tune. What do you think?
All right.
Let's do it. You want to do LOVE?
Sure. We're going to play this classic jazz song, LOVE, which we like so much. And Marcy worked out a beautiful arrangement on chorded melody for the ukulele, which was one of the things that she teaches on TrueFire. But we never thought the song was long enough, so we went ahead and wrote a second verse. And it really kind of fits into our love of classic old jazz, where you've got two different melodies that fit over one chord progression. And enough talk, and let's sing and play. Are you ready?
All right, yeah. L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. B is very, very extraordinary. It's even more than anyone that you adore can. Love is all that I can give to you. Love is more than just a game for two. Doing love can make it take my heart and please don't break it. Love was made for me and you.
Yeah. I-L-O-V-E, would you like to dine with me? I only want dinner for two, just me and you. Have you heard the sound of two sweet birds in love? Melody and harmony fits just like a hand in glove. Love is all that I can give to you. Love is more than just a children's game for two. Two in love can truly make it. Take my heart, don't you dare break it. Love was made for me and you. I-L-O-V
It's for
would
the way
like
you
to dine
look
with
at
me.
me.
I only want
it's
dinner for
for
two,
the
just
one
me
I
and
see.
you. Have you heard the sound of two sweet birds in love? Melody and harmony, it's just like a hand in glove. Love is all that I can give to you. Love is more than just a children's game for two. Two in love can truly make it. Take my heart, don't you dare break it. Love was made for me and you. Love was made for me and love was made for me and you.
Yeah, that is awesome. Nice job, guys. So that's from your new album? Do you guys do that on the album?
Yeah, we've got a brand new album called Wahoo, and it's ukulele centric. We play some other instruments like this with the ukulele, but it was time for us to have another ukulele album, and that was a super fun album to make. It and includes a couple of special guests from Seattle, Nova Devoni Karina, who plays accordion, and our friend Matt Weiner on bass, and a couple of other special guests here.
You know, life is going really well when you wake up and go, I just got to make a ukulele record.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And this is, you guys have made a couple records in your career, right? What number of album is this?
Wahoo is album number 48.
48. Holy smokes, that sounds like a lot.
Nobody told us to stop. And
No.
about half of our albums are for kids and families. We've got a batch of Grammy-nominated and Grammy-winning albums in the children's and family music genre, which is super fun for us because one of the things, besides the fun of playing with kids and families, is that's the genre. So, you know, a lot of times if people make a country album, all the songs have to be country. You make a folk album, all the songs have to be folk. On a kids album, we can have every genre. We'll have a rock piece, a pop piece, we'll have a reggae piece, we'll have a hip hop piece, big band. You know, it really lets us stretch out and do everything that we love.
Nice. Well, that's awesome. Well, 48 albums. That's amazing, especially considering you guys just started 4 years ago, right? That's what's really amazing.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well,
You work
we started
fast.
with albums in our hands, and apparently they were already done.
You know, look what those 4 years did.
I know that's exactly what happens. So very cool. We got people tuning in from all over, and I think we've got a trivia question. So
Yes, we do.
Tommy, you're going to tell us about trivia question. Is that right?
Yeah, let's take a look at this awesome trivia question we have, guys. Again, you have hey there, Cathy and Marcy. How's it going?
Hey, Tommy.
Tommy, great to see you.
It's great to see you too. You guys sound great and look great. The trivia question for you is, Cathy and Marcy once performed yodeling and lariat rope tricks for the queen of which Southeast Asian country? Wow. That is a doozy.
That is trivia. That is
nice.
trivia. It
That
might
is
be
good.
trivial.
That is a good piece of trivia. So, folks, remember, put your answer in the right place, not in the chat. Answer the question at the link there in the description, and you're entered for a chance to win a $100 gift card for TrueFire.
Wow.
So, there you go.
I'll give you another piece of trivia that is not the answer to this question, but involves Marcy doing lariat rope tricks, which she is very, very good at. She is the trick roper in Mary Chapin Carpenter's first video of her song Twist and Shout.
Wow.
Chapin had called us up and said, hey, will you all come dance in our video? And we said, absolutely not. And Marcy said, but I'll do some rope tricks. So it was in this great big old ballroom, and Marcy took her lariat trick ropes, and I think she even did like her 50-foot rope and jumped inside it, and everybody had a good time.
That sounds like
That's
a good
awesome.
time. Back to you, Jeff Sheets. What you got?
So one hint on the lariat rope tricks for royalty of a certain country is you cannot turn your back when you're playing in front of this royalty. So if you drop your lariat rope, that's just too bad.
There
You
go,
can't turn
folks.
around and get it.
Yeah, so you can't make any mistakes. Also, you're not allowed to use the same restroom facilities, which we interpreted to be you cannot sit on that royalty's throne. Okay, we've just lowered the bar for TrueFire. We probably have to recover ourselves here. I can't imagine what Allie's writing right now. Cathy Marcy, they used to be really nice people.
No, those are all good tips when traveling to a foreign country to do yodeling and rope tricks, right? Always good to have some extra information about that, because as often as we all get asked to do those things.
I know, it's true. You know, there are ways to just do well on the road, and one is to one of the keys to my success is poultry, just taking chicken wherever I am going, and then I'm surely welcomed into the scene.
There you go. That's perfect. That's the way to do it, right?
Yeah.
So we've got some other stuff besides lariat tricks to talk about. We're going to talk about a little bit about some more tunes, some more of you guys' music. Of course, you know, have many TrueFire courses and done a lot of things. What about some banjo? What about some
Banjo,
Clawhammer banjo?
One of my
I think
favorite
that's
words.
we should talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
let's
you know,
let's
for
start off.
starts, because-
Cathy, tell us, what is a clawhammer banjo? Why is that not just a banjo? Why is it a clawhammer banjo? Why do we refer to that? What's that mean?
Clawhammer banjo doesn't refer to the instrument itself, it refers to the right hand style. So When people play with their fingers, either their nails or sometimes picks on their fingers, we refer to that as finger picking. There are actually literally hundreds of right-hand styles for playing the banjo. And that's because the banjo really came around with everybody making their own banjos and making up their own ways of playing. There's also over 80 different ways that they're tuned. But the clawhammer style itself, I think, really refers to this oddball hand position here, where basically my first teacher taught me, shake hands with an imaginary broomstick. And you've got your hand kind of curled around like this, and it goes in front of your instrument, and you brush across all the strings, and you stop your thumb on this short string, which is the 5th string, and you pop it. Now, here's how Cathy knows when a guitar player is trying to play clawhammer banjo and they're cheating. They go like this. Instead of going. And eventually.
That's my technique.
Yeah, it's a whole technique. And then eventually you learn how to hit down. I think one of the things is when you can't really see behind the curtain of what the player is doing, it sounds like they're often picking up, but I'm actually never, ever, ever picking up. And so, you know, in my world of practice, which started on the banjo about 46 years ago, I just literally sat in front of the TV for hours at a time going. Until I could find the accuracy.
Hey, you played a commercial. Wasn't that the Maxwell House commercial?
Oh, yeah.
You were famous before I even knew.
So, you know, that's what clawhammer refers to. There's lots of variations to clawhammer, but it's a down-picking style only. And now, from time to time, the thumb will come to inside strings. We call that double thumbing or drop thumb. And right now, the renaissance of old-time banjo playing, which is kind of what clawhammer falls into, is just humongous. In fact, we were just part of organizing a big last weekend old-time banjo festival via Zoom, and we had about 300 people participating in workshops and concerts, and
wow.
It was really amazing fun. And I'm happy to say that a lot of people who participated were some of my TrueFire students.
Awesome. That's very cool. Good to know for sure. Well, that is a great description. So how about let's play something. We want to play a tune with some banjo while we're at it?
I don't play clawhammer. I'm a flat picker, and I play fiddle tunes on guitar and swing on guitar. So I'm going to play this banjo, not clawhammer style, but like a great big guitar, tuned in fifths.
This is a cello banjo, and it's a 4-string banjo. It really has a history that goes back to the early 1900s with banjo orchestras. And there was every size banjo, from a little piccolo banjo to a bass banjo. If we were in Maryland right now, we could show you a phenomenal bass banjo. But this cello banjo, so my banjo has an 11-inch pot, the pot being the round part here. It's got a tone ring in the back. It weighs a ton, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of 12-inch pot banjos. But when you get to 14 and 15 inches.
Heavy metal.
And it's tuned exactly like a cello, except it's plucked. And we actually were introduced to it by the great Mike Seeger, who is one of our banjo heroes, and Marcy's really developed her own style of playing on there. So what we're going to do is play for you a medley of old-time square dance tunes. The first one's called The Buffalo Girls, and it won't sound like the tune that you know of as Buffalo Gals. And the second one is called Punchin' Floor. And a punchin' floor in an old log cabin was a floor that was made out of the whole log, where they just split the log in half and put the flat side up. And that was called a punchin' floor. So the Buffalo Gals and punchin' floor.
There's some trivia for you.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Nice. Good job, guys. So yeah, of course, you've done a ton of TrueFire courses, right? We've done a lot of
Yeah.
TrueFire courses. Kathy, you've got a lot of banjo courses, and you also do a channel. But let's check out your courses on TrueFire. I mean, you've done several courses, and you've got a lot of cool things going on in there. So someone who's just starting out and just wanting to learn Clawhammer can dig right in, right?
Right.
Yeah, I am really, really proud of the beginner Clawhammer courses there, and I am constantly getting mail from people who started that way, or else Marcy and I will go to a festival or an old time music convention, and people are always coming up to me going, "You're my banjo teacher, and you don't even know it," which is actually, it's gratifying. It's a little weird, but it's gratifying, and even this weekend's Old Time Banjo Festival, the number of people who told me, "Oh, I started with your lessons on TrueFire." And it's one of the reasons that I started my channel, was to give people who are intermediate and past more material to go to, more techniques, more of everything. So, but I love teaching beginners. I love the idea of helping people access what they want to do with music. And the Clawhammer thing is, I'm going to say for most people, it's not intuitive. So having someone teach you at the beginning saves you a whole lot of time and frustration.
Kathy is
Very cool.
such a clear instructor. I'm really proud of that series too. She did a beautiful job and breaking down every detail of how to really get started. Because what I see is a lot of people come to Kathy who've been playing for a while, and they have some really habits that make it impossible to really jam on the tunes. So Kathy cuts through all that at the very beginning, and it gives people ergonomic hand positions and very clear directions. It's really a great series, if you don't mind my saying so.
Well, thank you.
No, absolutely. I totally agree. Yeah, great player and instructor, which isn't always the case. And you have the channel, you've started that channel to try to give folks a little bit more opportunity to interact with you, so that's the other thing. In the channel, there's a little bit more, if a person has a question, there's a place for them to sort of find out a little bit more detail and get it answered, as well as doing a private lesson with you. So if they really have a question and want to ask you something specifically, the private lesson option is a great thing to be able to do too, because it's hard to get a private lesson with someone like yourself, because you're usually, obviously right now we're in downtime, but you're usually really super busy. You guys travel all over and tour all over the place. So definitely nice for folks to be able to connect with you there in the channel. If you go somewhere and do a workshop somewhere, nice to be able to bring them back to the channel so you can sort of keep that interaction going with them.
There's a lot of things that I really love about the channel. I check in with my participants there about twice a week. I get requests from them of pieces of music that they want to learn, or a technique, because I'll teach some old time finger picking. I'll teach things in different tunings. Let me show you.
Sure.
I changed one string. I changed in an open G chord. I changed the B to a C. And now, if you don't sound like you're in the mountains, you don't sound like anything. So I get requests for, hey, can you teach me some stuff in that modal tuning? Can you teach me something in Sandy River Bell tuning? Would you watch how I'm using my right hand and give me some critiques? Most recently, I had a great private lesson with a woman who said, I think I'm playing okay, but it's not very comfortable. What can I do to make it more comfortable? And I'll give you all a hint, which is I always play banjo with a strap. And the banjo neck is really heavy. So unlike the guitar, even though the rest of this is heavy, it wants to go like that all the time. And if you're using the energy of your left hand to try and keep this in place, then you really can't use it to do all the rest of the things. And just by placing a strap underneath the neck like that, it means whether I'm sitting or standing, the banjo stays in the same place, and all of my hand energy is spent just finding, playing, manipulating the notes and the tone without thinking about trying to make this stay in one place.
Awesome. Good stuff. Good tips there. Good tips. Speaking of tips,
Yeah.
if anyone watching and enjoying this, we have a tip jar set up for Cathy and Marcy. So please go drop a tip in the tip jar. Our artists come here and they spend all this time, and this is where they're performing now, because once again, touring is shut down as we know it in the normal sense of the word. So this is where artists are coming and performing, and we're so thrilled that these guys are here. So drop a tip in the tip jar. 100% of that money goes directly to them. It's just a great way to support what they're doing, and we appreciate it, and they certainly appreciate it as well. And they're going to play some more music for us today as well. I think we're going to do. Let's do a what's next on your set list there? Are we going to do a Jump Up Ginger?
Oh,
Well,
Jump Up
yeah,
Ginger.
I
We
was
could do
thinking
that.
we'd do
We
that
could
'cause
do
you're
that.
Let's do that.
Sure.
Okay, so here's the thing about Jump Up Ginger is that, of course, Marcy and I both play ukulele. She is the maestro, so to speak, and we both like to think of ourselves as social music conductors. We run a huge ukulele festival every summer at the Music Center at Strathmore, and Marcy's got quite a few wonderful ukulele courses on TrueFire. When I started digging into the ukulele, in addition to the stuff that we do together, I went, oh, look, that fourth string is a high string just like the banjo. And I went, duh, I can play clawhammer ukulele. And so, and you can take a look at this uke, which was made by the Tide Company. I even had them scoop out a little space right here for my thumb so I could play, because the sweet spot on a ukulele is over the neck. And so this is a little piece of clawhammer ukulele, and I teach clawhammer ukulele. There's 2 courses in my TrueFire channel teaching this from the very beginning on up, and I'm soon to be adding some more instructional videos in there. And of course, there's nothing more entertaining than a ukulele and a cello banjo together. I bet you don't have any other instructors doing that, do you, Jeff? We've got the market cornered on this hot combo here of ukulele and cello banjo. So this was written in the backyard of a friend's house, Ginger Johnson in Maui. And here we go. Jump Up Ginger. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, nice.
See what happens when a great banjo player picks up a uke?
It works. It works. It works for both, right? So,
It does. It works for
but you know, Marcy, of course, we talked about, or you mentioned that Cathy Marcy has some awesome courses at TrueFire for ukulele, right? I mean, Marcy can play anything.
I love the ukulele, and for me, it's like a little guitar that I can take anywhere. And I grew up as a guitar player. I'm still mainly a guitar player in my mind. So I think on a guitar, and then I transfer it to other instruments.
That's awesome. Well, that's awesome. Well, your ukulele courses have done great. If anyone is interested in digging into the ukulele, it's definitely something that you know, I think you guys even say it's like everybody can play the uke, right? Everybody, it's something you love to play. If you just want to grab an instrument, it's sort of a feel good instrument, right?
Yep, and you can go as far as you want with it.
It's amazing. So
Everybody
your
can do that
courses,
and play a song.
yeah, and your courses are specifically for, you know, getting people started, right? You can get you can
Yeah.
take your first course and, you know, beginners can jump right in.
Yes, the first course I did was uke for guitar players, I think it was, and it's aimed at guitar players because you're using familiar forms, but any beginner can pick it up. And then as you get into the chorded melody courses, they're more complicated with chord inversions up and down the fingerboard. But then there's private lessons, which are cool, very cool. And
And you're only dealing with 4 strings.
Yeah. How hard can it be? There's only 4 strings. And going like this, you reach 7 frets. So, no, it's great. It's a great social instrument.
Awesome.
And
Well, you know, you guys, you know, do a great job of playing and combining all kinds of stuff. We did a couple questions. We had a couple questions that, you know, said, how would you guys define Americana music? How would you define that? How's that fit for you?
Do you want to go first on that?
You know, every organization involved in the various different kinds of musics that we play have their own definitions for each genre. And so I find that, you know, I find that very tricky. You know, historically, the word Americana music came around as a radio format. It really came around because country radio wouldn't play so much great either old classic stuff or contemporary songwriters who no longer fit a certain narrow niche for country radio. And that's really how the word Americana fit in. But to me, it's very interesting. You look at people who are recognized in Americana music. Of course, we just lost John Prine, amazing songwriter who, before the word Americana came around, everybody called him a folk singer. You know, another great example, friend of ours named Rhiannon Giddens, who is recognized in folk music, in Americana, in jazz, in this, in that. You know, for us, Americana is music that has roots in older sounds, but a lot of it is very contemporary music or contemporary songwriting. And, you know, beyond that, I think each definition serves the specific purpose of either the organization or the radio format or whatever it is that's using that definition at that moment. What we do know is, just like the music world is changing so much, these definitions are morphing, often to be more inclusive of more different things, because the influences, you know, it also used to be 25, 30 years ago that more people would play one style of music at a time. And now they're letting all these other influences in. And so it's a big mashup.
There you go. Do you have anything to add to that, Marcy?
The inclusiveness is fabulous, I think. You know, that, and what it shows me is that there are people out there in different areas of folk music who have really deep roots, and then they come and join those roots together, which is fabulous. And it's very different if the roots aren't grown and people meet at the top, players meet at the top. And it's got its own magic to do that, to just like throw it to the wind. But I really appreciate it when people really know the roots of what they're working on, trying to do, and then they take that and morph it into something else.
Awesome. Good answers, guys. So let's play another tune. You want to play another tune here?
We can play a tune.
You know what, Marcy? I
We
know
know
that we had a
something.
plan to play a certain swing tune, but I'm
Yeah.
actually thinking of playing a song by Ola Belle Reed. A love
Oh.
song. How do you feel about that?
Which, okay, that's
Hopelessly.
fine. Yeah, we could probably do both if we want to.
We probably can. So here we are in Lansing, North Carolina, which is the original home of a woman named Ola Belle Reed. And when you talk about sort of the cross-section of folk and Americana, I would say her music is right there. About 15 years ago, she was a National Heritage Fellowship Award winner for her contributions, both as a songwriter and a tradition bearer. And she's no longer with us. She passed away about 15 years ago, but Marcy and I used to visit her all the time at her home.
Great.
And one of those, and she wrote a song, if any of you are bluegrass fans, on the hit parade of bluegrass is a song called High on a Mountain. And that's an Ola Belle Reed song. Well, one of our many visits, as we were about to leave, she says, you know, I have a song that I've never recorded and I want to give it to you. And we were blown away. It's a beautiful love song, and you can hear in it how connected she was to the kind of country music that people like Hank Williams was making, and you know, how her roots and branches went forward and backward at the same time. And it's a beautiful song called I'm Hopelessly in Love with You. 1, 2, 3. You can measure the tallest tree, just how far to the stars up in the blue. Can you fathom the deepest deep blue sea? That's how much I'm hopelessly in love with you. Yes, I'm hopelessly in love with you. Though you'll never know the pain that I go through, so I'll content this aching heart, for it was hopeless from the start. Yes, I'm hopelessly in love with you. You have heard of that road that has no end. How many raindrops fall into the sea? How many times does that weeping willow bend? Count them all, and that's how much you mean to me. Yes, I'm hopelessly in love with you. Though you'll never know the pain that I go through, so I'll content this aching heart, for it was hopeless from the start. Yes, I'm hopelessly in love with you. Yes, I'm hopelessly in love with you.
Beautiful.
Awesome. That's a wonderful tune. I can't believe that that's just something that, you know, you guys have pulled out and said you're going to do this because you're going off the set list.
Because we're going off the set list.
Yeah,
Isn't it a beautiful song?
It is.
Ola Belle Reed wrote that.
She
We
was
recorded it
wonderful.
on our album Postcards, and people can find that album on our Bandcamp page. And I think it's the
That's
only
awesome.
one.
Really, that's great. So while you got your guitars there, you want to do another song here? You want
We
to?
got a swing
Sure.
thing.
Do you want to do that or do you want to do jazz? Let's do a swing thing. Okay, swing thing. I also have some swing guitar stuff up on TrueFire, which is so much fun to play. So we're gonna swing it a little bit here.
Cause it don't mean a thing if you ain't got it.
That's right.
It don't mean a thing if you ain't got that swing.
You're right.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba. Whoa, it don't mean a thing. All you've got to do is swing. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba. It makes no difference if it's sweet or hot. Give that rhythm everything you've got. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Take it, Marcy. Play it again. Okay. Three-part harmony. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Oh, it don't mean a thing. All you got to do is swing. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-ba. It makes no difference if it's sweet or hot. Give that rhythm everything you've got. Mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Yeah, awesome. I'm gonna have a little swinging going on here this
had a little
afternoon.
fun.
Very
We'll
cool.
get you dancing one way or another.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very good stuff, guys. So everyone, be sure to check in on the live page if you haven't done the check-in there for the road trip. Do that. Drop by the tip jar. Put some tips in there. For sure, you should hit that thumbs up button. If everybody that's watching right now can hit the thumbs up for me, that would be awesome. We got to get our thumbs up there. So bump up that thumbs up at right underneath the chat. That would be awesome. You guys are doing a lot of stuff online, right? Obviously, with touring being sort of shut down right now, it leaves us this kind of stuff and online stuff. So tell us about, what's some other stuff you got going on coming up online?
Well, we have every Wednesday at 5:30. We've been doing a children's concert for about a half an hour.
On our Facebook page.
Yep, our Facebook page. And then at about 8 o'clock, we do a concert or sometimes a play-along, sing-along cocktail party, which I really love. some things have been online and some haven't. I just wrote an article for Acoustic Guitar Magazine on swing, and it's a month-long process. So I really look forward to adding to my channel and getting some swing stuff up there. And also, we've been teaching online. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so we've both got some guitar classes. Marcy's got several ukulele classes via Zoom, and I'm teaching some banjo and some guitar stuff. And we just finished this so successful Old Time Banjo Festival that we've lost our minds, and we're organizing a weekend guitar retreat for the middle of June. And the instructors and performers in that retreat are going to be Marcy and myself, Mary Flower from Portland, Oregon, who's a fabulous blues guitar player, and Avril Smith, who's playing in the bluegrass band Della Mae. She's a really hot player. And the last person who we really love, a newer friend, Lisa Liu from New York, plays a lot of swing and jazz, and she's awesome.
Gypsy jazz too.
She's really a wonderful, versatile player, and we're going to structure it so that there are 3 hour-and-a-half long workshops a day and one evening concert, and the concert will go out live to YouTube. And we're, in fact, now, because of the current COVID thing, we're in the midst of reorganizing our gigantic annual Uke Festival. We're going into the 12th year of our Uke Festival at the Music Center at Strathmore, and we're reorganizing that as a total online experience and really pushing the envelope of how we can make it not just the teaching, learning experience, but when you go to a music camp, there's so much social. And we're exploring some fabulous ways to make this incredibly social as well. And that's in the middle of August. I think it's going to be super fun. And then when we're not doing all of that stuff, we're just about to start taping a batch of new courses for our TrueFire channels. We haven't quite opened Marcy's channel yet, but it's going to happen soon. And we're starting off with a couple of mandolin and guitar courses. And besides that, let me tell you, we're in the mountains of North Carolina, and we try and get out for a 3 to 5 mile hike every day. And
wow, nice.
That's awesome.
The other thing that we're doing is everybody spends their lives going, hey, when I get enough time, I'm going to do this. When I get enough time, I'm going to do that. We've all got the time now. So we're really digging into taking some TrueFire courses ourselves and working on our own, musical expansion, do a little writing, been doing quite a bit of songwriting. And I think the challenge right now is figuring out not only how to stay productive, but how to stay connected. And when we do these weekly online shows on Facebook, we let go of certain production values in order to be able to stare at the screen from time to time and look at the comments and talk to people and answer each other. And our Banjo Festival had amazing social component to it. And right now, that's what we have. Since we can't all be in the same room, we can't all go to a music camp, we're accepting second best and taking lemons and turning them into lemonade. And at some point, this will all be in our past. But in the meantime, we're just trying to make the most of it.
Well, I look at it this way. We're in a challenging time, of course, but we've been through challenging times before. And one way to deal with it is to turn off the news and focus entirely on something that you love. And with me, it's music. So this is an opportunity for me to do three things that I really love. I love teaching and the sharing that goes along with it. I love learning, and I'm learning like crazy. And I love to play, and I'm playing like crazy. What I'm not doing is spending time sitting on airplanes and sitting in cars. And that was never the top of my list of things to do anyway. So I feel pretty lucky. I feel very lucky to be associated with TrueFire, and very lucky to be able to have this music to concentrate on and dig into and look into Jeff Sheets's courses and play a little rock and roll and crank up the electric. It's an opportunity to have a lot more fun and a lot more concentrated time with the music, and I do appreciate that.
And I will mention that if you tune into any of our Facebook live shows at Facebook/Cathy and Marcy, every week we choose a different organization that we raise money for. So there is either a tip jar or a link to an organization. We've been raising a lot of money for food banks. We feel like being in that lucky position that our teaching, our TrueFire, and other work is working for us. The least we can do is help out other people, and so that's really been fun too. And we've gotten a lot of email from people saying, thanks for introducing me to this organization or to that organization. And by the way, folks, if you want to find out what we're doing, sign our email list. Just go to cathymarcy.com, upper right hand corner. There's an email list that you can join and stay tuned on stuff.
Awesome. Yes, it would be great to have everybody tune into what you're doing, because you are so busy all the time, and you're doing a lot of cool stuff right now. So of course we appreciate you being here and taking the time this afternoon to come share your talents here with us. I think we've got one more shout out for the trivia. Tommy, you got the trivia question? Let's give that one more time, and then we'll.
Weirdest trivia question ever.
I mean, it's quite a trivia question, so we should.
Of course, we definitely have to hit this trivia question. Yeah, we're running out of time, so let's put it out there one more time quickly. Cathy and Marcy once performed yodeling and lariat rope tricks for the queen of which Southeast Asian country? Put your answer in the link, not in the chat. Have to say it every time because somebody does it. Throw that in there, and you get a chance to win a $100 gift card to TrueFire.
$100 gift card?
Whoa, that's a lot.
Holy cow.
That's
very cool. What
That's
we got,
pretty
Jeff?
darn sweet.
But you know, we can, I guess maybe in the chat or the link or whatever, y'all could put up the promo for my channel, which gives people a free 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
Love to see some people in there.
Yeah, we'll get that in the chat for sure. We've been showing it throughout
great.
Too on the screen.
And
so.
hey, we want to take a second just to give a shout out to everybody at TrueFire. This is a great company that has been truly supporting its artists and its instructors. And actually, for me, one of the fun things about this moment is we get to spend an hour talking to Jeff Sheets. He's busier than we are. So, and getting to see Tommy, these people are top notch. Everybody who works at TrueFire has done their best to support the community and its community of artists. And it's just always, from day one, it's been a pleasure being associated with TrueFire.
Absolutely.
Well, that is awesome. Thank you, guys. We a big part of that is I think everyone at TrueFire has always believed, without question, that the best thing about TrueFire is you guys, is the artists. You know, that's the way we always see it, and we totally get that. And as someone who was a TrueFire artist myself, and then got more and more involved, that was why. It was because of just the way TrueFire really truly appreciates artists, and really is a very extremely artist friendly company, and always puts artists first. And so that's very cool to see. So I think we got time. I don't know if we're going to announce our winners of our trivia. I'm pretty sure we're probably going to pull some trivia, and then we got time for, I think we should have time for one more song, right?
Oh, sure.
So, Marcy, you get to pick. Do you want to do something with banjo and guitar? You want to do something on ukulele?
Let's go with banjo and guitar.
All right.
Why not?
So I'm going to go
What's it
into
gonna
a
be?
special tuning here. Double C tuning.
Is this Wild Rose?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Let's
perfect.
do that.
Perfect.
Song by our good friend Cy Khan called The Wild Rose of the Mountain.
So you're actually going to D.
You want to play some tunes after?
If you
or
throw
not?
me a tune, I might do Chinese right
I'm not ready for that.
now. Okay. Well, never mind then. We'll just do the song. Just like we rehearsed it.
Oh, we recorded this song in 1989, I think, with a group called Blue Rose, which was the first all-female bluegrass acoustic country group. And it included Laurie Lewis, Molly Mason, and Sally Van Meter. And it's a song that we've known for a long time, written by someone who's been called the modern day Woody Guthrie, and that's our friend Cy Kahn from Charlotte, North Carolina. Beautiful song called "The Wild Rose of the Mountain."
And play whatever tunes you want to afterwards.
Oh, if I had my life to live, I'd surely live it over. Only walk in brand new shoes, just lay down in clover. Only work on Christmas Day, all the rest goes sporting. Spend the days down at the creek and every night go courting. Oh, honey from the honeycomb, water from the fountain, sugar from the sugar cane, wild rose of the mountain. Oh, if I had a new big quilt, I'd fill it all with feathers. Take my sweetheart by the hand, we'd lay there together. Oh, the days when I was young, my thoughts would keep returning. Drive the winter nights away just like a log fire burning. Oh, honey from the honeycomb, water from the fountain, sugar from the sugar cane, wild rose of the mountain. When I think of home, sweet home, it makes my eyes grow misty. Papa singing gospel songs, Mama sipping whiskey. Whiskey from that white oak barrel, sure to make good liquor. Makes the night seem twice as bright and days go by much quicker. Oh, honey from the honeycomb, water from the fountain, sugar from the sugar cane, the wild rose of the mountain. Honey from the honeycomb, water from the fountain, sugar from the sugar cane, the wild rose of the mountain.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. We might do one more song. We might have you guys play us out because
If you're up for
the
it.
more playing we can do, the better. We do have our trivia question winners, however. So
Really?
looks like winner number one is G Hunter is going to get a $100 gift certificate.
Awesome.
And winner number two is Eyes Without a Face. Winner number two.
What were the answers?
So that's our winners. Our trivia questions for the day. We're gonna say yours first because
I gotta know the answer.
your trivia is where did you perform yodeling and lariat rope tricks for the queen of which Asian country? And the answer was Thailand. So that was our answer for your trivia. The Muriel Anderson trivia question was, which of Muriel's recordings has traveled the farthest?
Oh.
And that is Heartstrings, accompanied astronaut Susan Helms 2.5 million miles on the Space Shuttle Discovery.
That's cool.
So
Pretty cool.
recording went into space. It's hard to compete with that with normal touring.
yeah, that's true.
Although
that's
we
true.
had a song that was played on the
On the
Mars
space.
rover.
On the-
Nice.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Awesome.
To wake
Yeah.
up the Mars rover.
And
That's
it was
amazing.
a good song called "Brush Your Teeth."
That's awesome. So
You
so
never
basically,
know.
both of our artists today had songs out of this world, one could say.
Exactly.
Sorry, like a dad
You know what?
joke kind of
That's
thing.
'cause you just
So
don't-
we thank you guys again for being here.
Hey, thanks, Jeff. This is super fun.
Stay safe out there. We want everyone who's watching and checking this out. If you missed it, you will be able to tune in later and watch this whole presentation. So go check out Cathy's channel, both Cathy and Marcy's courses. Marcy's channel will be coming soon. Or if you want to grab a private lesson from these guys, they are literally really the reason, you guys are the reason that we started to spark up our Americana catalog, and all of the things that we're doing with that
Some thumbs
is
up
really
on that.
because of you guys and the fact that you have put so much effort into it. So once again, thank you guys for being here. And if you would be so kind, just play us out with a tune.
We'd
All right.
love to. Sing with me. Gotta give a little.
Take a little.
Let your poor heart break a little.
That's the story of, that's the glory of love.
You gotta laugh a little.
Cry a little.
Let those clouds roll by a little.
That's the story of, that's the glory of love. As long as there's just the two of us, we'll have the world in its charms. When the world is through with us, we'll have each other's arms.
You gotta win just a little.
Lose just a little,
Sometimes even get the blues a little.
that's the story